Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Bitcoin video. This video is extremely important. We're looking into the cyclical formations for Bitcoin. We've got many questions to answer. Is Bitcoin on track with the 4-year cycle theory? Is Bitcoin still going to be seeing a bull market in 2025, starting late 2024? When is Bitcoin going to be seeing an all-time high? When's Bitcoin going to be seeing a break above 70K? What price targets do we have for Q4 2025? What is Ethereum doing? Is Ethereum on track with its cyclical theory? What about Bitcoin dominance? What about Bitcoin Ethereum chart? I'm going to let you in a little sneak peek of what we talk about in this video. We are expecting an all-time high on Bitcoin by the end of 2024. We're expecting a 100 to 200K Bitcoin by the end of 2025, and we can narrow down that price prediction when the halving occurs. But we have a lot to look into. We're going to be expanding on those points I just made, and we're going to be looking into the overall Bitcoin macro structure. Guys, by the time I post this video, I'm going to be overseas. I'm going to be overseas for about 5 days. I'll have some videos scheduled for that time period, but just know that I won't be overly active in the comment sections. I won't be replying at my usual capacity. But guys, before we get into the video, thank you for watching in advance, and let's get into it. Okay guys, the charts we'll be looking at in this video are the Bitcoin 4-year cycle chart to start off with, obviously the most important chart on Bitcoin, looking into what makes up the 4-year cycle, the general basis of it, and then getting into the actual formulas and the predictions based on the 4-year cycle very briefly. We'll then be looking into the BLX, which gives us good indication or a reasonable indication of when Bitcoin will be reaching an all-time high. And by all-time high, I don't mean the next cyclical top, I mean break above 69K. We then have the Ethereum chart. We can start to discuss some macro trends in the Ethereum chart and start to discuss some cyclical trends in the Ethereum chart. Bitcoin dominance, Ethereum / BTC, which is the Ethereum valuation valued in BTC, and why this is indicating a regular cycle as with the Bitcoin dominance chart. Then we'll be just looking into the bear case on Bitcoin. What is the bear case, and can the bear case play out within the bounds of this cycle? The answer is yes, but I'll be answering that in more in-depth format. So guys, without further ado, let's check out the VIP group and then get into the video. The VIP group on Telegram, as you can see on the screen, this is the information group, the free to join group. It's kind of like a pre-group group, right? So you can join this, check out the pricing, check out what you get with the VIP group, and then you can also check out the trading results. And if you want to see a 14-day free trial of the VIP group, you can follow the steps here in the VIP information group and get a 14-day free trial so you can check it out before you make a payment. So go ahead and do that if you're interested, guys. Without further ado, let's get into the actual content itself. So the general topic of this video is basically, is Bitcoin on track cyclically? Right, there's lots of mucking around on the daily chart. There's been 6 months, 7 months of sideways price action for Bitcoin now. And obviously a lot of people could be, getting a distorted view of how Bitcoin looks from an actual macro cyclical perspective. They're all zoomed in the short term. They might not be zooming out. They might not be realizing where Bitcoin is. Bitcoin right now, to answer the question before I even start the video, and then I'll answer it more in depth part by part, is on track. All right, it's very well on track. All right, so basically, how do I know that? How can I determine that Bitcoin is on track? Well, there's many ways to determine it, and they actually rely on all the charts I'm going to look at in this video. But the main chart, the underlying fundamental chart, the basis, the structural chart, I should say, is the 4-year cycle date range trend chart. Now, this is a chart I've crafted myself. I have been a believer in the 4-year cycle for ever since I started this YouTube channel, ever since I started my first Twitter post, my first Telegram group at the start of 2021. I've been a 4-year cycle proponent for a long period of time. 4-year cycle is basically a date range trend that is kicked off by the halving. The first halving was over here in 2012. That kicked off the 4-year cycle. We saw the first bull market ever. We saw the first bear market ever. First sideways accumulation period and the second bull market. Every single 4 years we see a bull market. Every single 4 years we see a bear market. The 4-year cycle, of course, is comprised of 4 years. 1 year bull market, 1 year bear market, 2 years sideways. We're currently in the years of sideways. We're in the first year of sideways. Okay, 2024 is the second year of sideways. But when I say sideways, it's kind of misleading. What I actually mean is accumulation, because obviously we can go upwards during these 2-year period. But the bull market itself, or the majority of the bull market, shouldn't actually take place until 2025, and the real kickstart to the upwards price action shouldn't occur till after the halving. So 4-year cycle, realistically, 4 years, as I said, 1 year bull market roughly, 1 year bear market, 2 years accumulation. That's how it's going. The halving, of course, is in April 2024, and so basically we shouldn't expect anything major until after April. That doesn't mean we can't go upwards at all, right? We have gone upwards of 2x from the lows. We definitely can go upwards, but I'm talking about actual, something resembling a bull market price action, which is exponential gains on Bitcoin, exponential gains on altcoins, that won't be kicking off until after the halving, and the halving's in April 2024. So we know the 4-year cycle is real, and we don't just know it based in theory, we also know it based on date range trends. We have, 4 or 5 actually distinctive trends on Bitcoin. As you can see, they're all color-coded here. I've written them down. You have the amount of days from top to top, the amount of days from bottom to bottom, the amount of days from top to bottom, the amount of days from bottom to top, the amount of days from bottom to halving. All of those trends and the days associated with them are reflected, color-coded on this chart right here. You can pause the video and take a look, and you can see just the extraordinary level of date range accuracy that Bitcoin has. Now, so we know based on that, and obviously based on the fact we had a bottom perfectly as per the 4-year cycle in November 2022, we know the fact that the 4-year cycle is very well active, it's very well alive, and it's very well real. And based on that, we can expect it to continue occurring, because obviously the trend is your friend until it ends. That doesn't mean it will. That doesn't mean it will continue occurring. We can see it invalidated, but we can expect it, okay? Because it is a trend. You can expect trends to continue until they end. We can expect it to continue occurring, in which case we can expect an all-time high in Q4 2025, specifically around October 2025. A cyclical high, sorry, not an all-time high, a cyclical high, right? The next bull market should top out in Q4 2025, specifically around October. And that is based on an extrapolation of these 5 micro trends we have here. And that gives us actually quite an extraordinary level of accuracy. It's played out 3 separate times now. This will be the 4th time. And we've already started hitting some of those targets. So it's great to see the 4-year cycle still healthy and alive. Now, the only thing we need to be watching with the 4-year cycle itself, as I said, it's a date range trend. It's not really based on price points. You can't really take price estimations based on this trend seriously, because each cycle looks dramatically different. They just top out and bottom out at the same time, roughly. So the only thing that would really invalidate the 4-year cycle theory is dropping to a new low preemptively, right? The next time we expect to see a cyclical bottom on Bitcoin is 2026, really, after the bull market. We should not be going down to 15K again. If we go down and drop below 15K before the all-time high, that means we'll be invalidating the 4-year cycle theory, because this trend will fall apart, right? The whole date range trend will fall apart. So the only thing that could actually invalidate the 4-year cycle theory definitively is us going to 15K or below in the next 2 years, basically. That's the only thing. So if we go to new lows on Bitcoin, we go below where we went to in November 2022, that will invalidate the 4-year cycle theory. Other than that, everything is on the table. There's some things that are more likely than other things, but everything is technically on the table. So that's an explanation of what the 4-year cycle is. It was a long-winded explanation, but it was an explanation. And now we can get into some of the speculations we can make based on 4-year cycle. So we have the date range trend. We know the top will be based on the 4-year cycle around October 2025. What about price targets? As I said before, price targets can't be taken too seriously. And that's why I'm going to issue a warning here. These predictions can't be taken too seriously, but they are incredibly vague for a reason. They're incredibly vague so that they can be taken seriously. And what do I mean by vague? Well, this is something I've explained in the past multiple times. I have put together a couple of formulas, 3 formulas to be precise, on Bitcoin based on the 4-year cycle to predict what the price would be in the 2025 October top. Okay, so where is Bitcoin going to be in October 2025? I've put together multiple formulas, multiple methods of calculation, all of which go from conservative to optimistic. And basically, you can pause the video and check out the formulas here. I've taken price targets from, or percentage gains in historical gains from bottom to halving, from top to bottom, all these kind of things, from halving to top. I've averaged it out. I've used percentage decrease, averages, etc. And I've gotten 3 separate results, right, based on alterations to the formula, one of which says we'll see 120K in Q4 2025, one of which says we'll see 103K, and one of which says we'll see 196K. All right, so overall, the vague target for Q4 2025, okay, I'll actually write it down here, right? The top, the all-time high, the top for the next bull market, Q4 2025, October 2025, should be between 103K and 197K. That should be the price target, between 103K and 197K. Now, you might think, well, that's incredibly vague. And as I said before, it has to be vague because we don't have the data for it to be more precise than that. But what I will say is this. The next load of data we will get from the 4-year cycle theory will come from the price we are at the halving. When the halving occurs, we can jot down the price we are at the halving, apply it to some of these formulas, and get an extra piece of data for those formulas, and hence narrow down the range. I suspect that by 2024 April, which, next April, so 6 months from now, I will be able to narrow down my 2025 all-time high prediction to around a $20,000 to $30,000 range instead of a $90,000 range. So hopefully we can do that. So basically we're waiting 6 months for more data, then we'll be able to make a more precise prediction. At this point it's vague, but it does give you an indication. The most conservative formula I can find says 103K 2025. The most optimistic formula I can find says 197K 2025. So somewhere in that price region will be the all-time high in 2025 based on those formulas there. Now, they might not be true, they might be off, but that's what we've got here. It's just an indication, just indicative. It's not really much of a prediction, more of an observation. So we are very well on track from a 4-year cycle perspective on Bitcoin, that is for sure. And we do have rough targets, rough predictions, rough observations starting to be able to be made based on formulas. More data will come in at the halving in April next year, and we can start to narrow down those predictions. That's where Bitcoin is at from a 4-year cycle perspective. I'm going to look at Ethereum in a second, because Ethereum, I'll look at the end of the video actually, is quite interesting as well, but I want to look at a few more charts related to Bitcoin. We obviously just discussed when the next all-time high will be, at what price it will be, and whether we're on track with a 4-year cycle. Now we're going to get into when the next, I keep stuffing up the phrases, not when the next all-time high will be, when the next cyclical top will be. Now we're going to be looking at when the next all-time high will be. So when are we going to break 69K is what I'm looking at now. When are we going to get above 69K? When is Bitcoin going to place a new all-time high? We can look at this chart here. Now again, this is an incredibly vague chart, but what we have in this chart are two developing formulas, are two developing trends, okay? We have a trend that says we generally see 1,100 days from all-time high to a break of the all-time high. We've seen that 2 occasions, right? We also have a trend that says we generally see a 350% gain roughly from the bottom to the halving, okay? Or the top before the halving, I should say. That's happened 2 times. So based on these 2 trends, we can assume that there is a good chance that one of them will be correct. They're both invalid at this point because they've only seen 2 data points, and mathematically you need 3 data points for a trend to be seen as valid, but one of them is going to be correct. If the 340% gain between bottom and halving is correct, we will be seeing an all-time high on Bitcoin before or on April 2024, right? And if the latter trend is correct, which is the 1,100 days between all-time high and all-time high break is correct, we will be seeing a all-time high on Bitcoin before or on November 2024. I would lean towards November 2024, but basically what this tells us is that at the latest, okay, we should be seeing an all-time high break, a break of 70K by November 2024. Now, obviously, these are rough trends. They're both actually invalid at this point in time. They're not even valid yet, but they do give us an indication of where Bitcoin could be at that point in time. And if you think about it, if we're expecting to see an all-time high in 2025, which could be as high as 197K, it's not really out of the question for us to see Bitcoin reach 70K by November 2024. It's actually very reasonable. And that's why I'm willing to take these invalid trends quite seriously. I think that Bitcoin will be seeing an all-time high by the end of 2024, specifically by the end of November. I believe that. So based on the 2 things we've looked at so far, we've got a few more things to look at in a second. We know that Bitcoin is on track. We know that Bitcoin will reach an all-time high in October 2025. We know that that all-time high will be between 103 and 197K. We know that Bitcoin will reach an all-time high to a certain degree of confidence in 2024, potentially in the late part of 2024. So we know a few things now, just from what we've discussed in the video in the last 10 minutes. We've got a few more things to discuss. We've got Bitcoin dominance, Ethereum to Bitcoin. We've got the bear case scenario, and we've got Ethereum. We're going to discuss those things after a short break. Ladies and gentlemen, here's a little news flash for you. You trust exchanges with your money. They get hacked all the time. They lose funds all the time. So the exchange you're using, you're actually trusting with your money. You're also paying them fees for trades. You're paying up to thousands, tens of thousands of dollars per year in fees. So you want to have a bloody good exchange, right? And that's why I have 2 exchanges for you guys, 2 options depending on your location, depending on what you want from exchange. The first one is Bitget. That is a KYC exchange. You can sign up from anywhere in the world, excluding the United States, excluding Canada, and excluding Singapore. Very low fees, protection fund, the whole 9 yards. We've also got BingX, that's our second exchange, and that is an exchange you can sign up non-KYC from anywhere in the world, including every country, right, with a VPN from anywhere in the world. Again, very low fees, protection fund, everything you need in an exchange. Both of these exchanges are top 10 exchanges in trading volume. Sign up using my referral link below to get a 15% trading fee discount on both of the exchanges. Again, they'll both be in the description. Referral link is there. Get on a good exchange and become a proper trader. Don't use these trashy exchanges that you're risking your money and paying over in fees. Guys, let's get back into the video. All right, welcome back. Bitcoin dominance. Now, Bitcoin dominance is something that measures, it's a chart that measures the strength of Bitcoin in relation to the rest of the market in a percentage format. Currently, it's at 50.4%, meaning that 50.4% of the money in cryptocurrency is in Bitcoin, okay? The dollar value of cryptocurrency, 50.4% is in Bitcoin. So this thing moves upwards, that means Bitcoin is gaining dominance in the market. This thing moves downwards, that means Bitcoin is losing dominance in the market. We have cyclical trends on this chart here showing you that basically when the altcoin season and when the bull market occurs, when the exponential upside rallies on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in general occur, Bitcoin dominance drops. Now, why is that, right? Because people during the bull market get greedy. They don't want the low returns that Bitcoin has. They want the high returns that altcoins offers. So they switch out their Bitcoin for altcoins. They invest in altcoins. They lose interest in Bitcoin. And hence Bitcoin dominance tanks. And during the bear market, the opposite thing occurs, right? Bitcoin dominance goes upwards because people are seeing that altcoins getting wrecked much harder than Bitcoin. So they flock into Bitcoin for safety, and hence Bitcoin dominance rises. Now, this has happened a couple of times over and over again. And so now we're seeing it happening again. So it's perfectly normal. It's perfectly natural. We're on track from the Bitcoin dominance perspective. We are in a bear market right now, or at least we're in the accumulation phase. And so what that means is that people are flocking into Bitcoin for security. They're not necessarily willing to risk money on altcoins. They won't be willing to risk money on altcoins until after the halving, because it's after the halving that altcoins will start seeing, start outperforming Bitcoin. It's after the halving that attention will come back to Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, and people invest in altcoins, and all that new money will come in. So during, the bull market, starting probably late next year, the Bitcoin dominance chart should start decreasing. During last cycle, we saw it start to decrease rapidly from December, around 6 months after the halving. So perhaps the same thing will occur this time. 6 months after the halving will put us in around November next year. November next year will coincidentally put us where the all-time high break is expected. So perhaps after we break all-time highs, people will start focusing their attention on altcoins. That would make sense. That's something what we did, actually the same thing in December 2020. So I expect the Bitcoin dominance chart to continue rising. It's perfectly on track for now, and it probably won't, start dropping until late next year. So as of right now and until late next year, if this 4-year cycle continues playing out, which we have every reason to think it will, we should be seeing Bitcoin maintain its dominance in the market and actually increase its dominance in the market for the next basically 12 months. So that's something to consider, and that actually supports the 4-year cycle. We also have Ethereum Bitcoin chart. This is the Ethereum chart valued in Bitcoin. And you can see that the Ethereum chart valued in Bitcoin, basically, obviously, just like Bitcoin dominance, when the bull market occurs, this thing skyrockets because people throw their money into Ethereum. They don't actually invest in Bitcoin as much. They're looking for higher returns. Ethereum has higher returns. So they're throwing their money into Ethereum. And Ethereum, of course, is the safest altcoin. So it's the next best thing you can invest other than Bitcoin from a cyclical market perspective. You can see it skyrocketed in both the bull markets, and this is Ethereum's dominance in relation to Bitcoin, skyrocketed in both the bull markets. So Ethereum outperformed Bitcoin for that period of time, and during the bear markets it generally slacks and goes downwards. We're seeing that occur right now. That's perfectly normal, perfectly natural, on track. We have a pattern of compression though, as you can see on the RSI, and that pattern of compression will be coming to an end around June 2024, which is a few months after the halving next year, a couple months after the halving next year. So we can expect Ethereum to break upwards from the RSI around that time, and hence start to edge upwards from that point onwards. So that is on track. Everything is perfectly normal from Ethereum's perspective as well. So basically, 4-year cycle looks great. It's still on track, all-time high end of next year roughly, or before, still on track. Bitcoin dominance is still on track. Ethereum, Bitcoin still on track. What about the bear case, right? We have a bear case on Bitcoin, and I'm not making the claim that this is going to play out at all. That's not what I'm doing here. I'm just listing the fact that we do have one. There is a bear case on Bitcoin, and the bear case entails the following. The bear case is basically, that we are having head and shoulders candlestick formation we formed, and we broke below the neckline recently, and so we should be going downwards and retesting this yellow line here at the minimum, at the best, right? If not lower. Now, that yellow line itself, that low 20k, 21k region, is not actually the worst thing to retest. That is an uptrending support line from back here in 2017, retested in 2018, and tested again in 2020, found a low in 2022 on that line. That's a very strong support line. If we retest that line, we could very well bounce on that support line, and that bounce could lead to a break of this yellow triangle here, in which case we'd go upwards for the bull run, so we'd be perfectly safe. So Bitcoin does actually have some room for the downside to go. It can go to below 20k region, hold that yellow line, then go upwards. That's all good. When the actual bear case starts to develop, right, if we see an actual bear case, would be a break below the yellow line. And that would bring us to test something like 18k. We have to hold that level. If we don't hold 18k, we're dropping back into the bottoming out range. If we lose 18k, you can basically call it quits the 4-year cycle. So 18k really is the actual level we need to hold for Bitcoin. So long as we're above 18k, we're in fine territory. So long as we're above 21k, 22k, we're in good territory. So long as we're above 24.5k, we're in very good territory. And if we get above 32k, we're just excellent and on track fully. So those are the kind of the levels there. I don't want to spend too much time talking about bear case. I don't think it's actually that relevant right now. We're very far away from it triggering. So long as Bitcoin's above 24.5k, there's no real bear case to be made. A break below 24.5k, as I'm sure you guys all agree, I've spoken about this every video for the last month, is bad, but we're not really there right now. And so if it does occur, obviously we already know what the reaction is going to be. It's going to be bad for the market. But Bitcoin, basically the point I'm making is Bitcoin has quite a lot of room to the downside to go before the 4-year cycle starts to get invalidated. I want to spend just a quick minute here talking about Ethereum. And the reason why it's going to be a quick minute is because I don't think Ethereum has enough cyclical data to make any definitive cyclical trends, but I do have some amount of data. I have a 5-step kind of move for Ethereum. Okay, first step is topping out. Second step is dead cat bounce. Third step is finding the low. Fourth step is retesting a pink line from the previous cycle. And fifth step is breaking above it. We've seen that occur over here from 2018 to 2021. And we've seen the same thing occur, the same kind of structure occur now up to step 4. We're waiting for step 5, which will be a break above the pink line. But the pink line on this occurrence is at around 2,100 for Ethereum. And if we're taking the last cycle as gospel, which is a risky thing to do for Ethereum, but we're going to do it for the sake of the video, we can see that from the breakdown of the pink line to the retest of the pink line, which is step 4, we saw about a 320-day period. From the breakdown of the pink line to a retest of the pink line this time, we saw about a 350-day period. So roughly the same amount of time between the breakdown and the retest. So we could actually be expecting then a break upwards above the pink line around the same time as well, which would be a 714 days from the breakdown, which would mean we break above the pink line in Ethereum around May 2024. So that's just after the halving. That actually makes quite a lot of sense. So this Ethereum chart here, although it's not something we can take seriously at all, it's just an observation, does suggest a breakout on Ethereum above 2100 by around April or May next year. I think that's reasonable. All right, I'm not going to say anything more about it. It's not supported very well. But just know that there are cyclical trends developing on Ethereum. They won't be useful this cycle. There simply isn't enough data, but they will be useful eventually. Perhaps in the next cycle, we can start to take them seriously. Perhaps by, the 2027 bear market or 2026 bear market, we'll have some actual confirmed solid data for Ethereum. We can start to make some cyclical trends like we do with Bitcoin right now. Currently, they just don't exist. But I do want you to know that there is a pretty good chance we get above 2100 by May 2024. But I think everyone already kind of expects that. May 2024 is quite a while away, so we've got a lot of time there. And we already retested it back here in April this year. So that's worth noting though, and it's quite interesting. So guys, I think we'll end the video there. Before I do so, I'll give you a quick conclusion, a quick summary of what we said. All right? Basically, Bitcoin, 4-year cycle theory, still is on track. Halving is in April 2024. By the halving, we'll be able to take these predictions we've made more seriously. Currently, the predictions are vague. The prediction is 103k to 197k by October 2025, roughly. Again, they're vague. We'll take them more seriously when the halving occurs, but 4-year cycle is perfectly on track as of right now. It will be on track provided we stay above 15k. We can see an all-time high on Bitcoin by November next year. Bitcoin dominance is on track. Ethereum Bitcoin chart is on track. And the bear case is not really something that's pressing as of right now until we lose 24.5k. So guys, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Before we end it, Crypto Academy, become a trader course. If you want to learn how to trade, you want to learn everything about charting patterns, market patterns, candlestick patterns, market psychology, how to find trades, you can do that by looking at this website here, reading about the course, and ultimately throwing us an email at cryptoacademycourses@gmail.com, and we'll get back to you with all the relevant payment information and answer any questions you might have. Guys, thank you for watching again. Have a good one.